Hey, what's up guys, it's Mark here from Marks Aquatics. On today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make a tiny little micro habitat out of a little tiny glass bowl. I don't know if you saw the one that was in the shrimp room, which I do my almond leaves in, my alder cones, that kind of stuff. I just leach the tannins out really before I put them into the systems. But with this, what I'm going to do is make a little habitat. It's going to have moss balls in it, it's going to have different types of plants in it. We're going to make a little airlift filter. My roof's leaking. I just got dripped on. Never mind. I'll sort that out tomorrow. So there's always something to do, isn't there? Always something to do in a shed. If you've got a shed, it's always leaking or something's happening. Anyway, back to subject. What we're going to do is we're going to actually create this little sponge filter. We're going to put it in the back. We're going to put another piece of perspex in front. We're going to create a nice little cavity there for the sponge filter to go in. You'll see it as we go along. I've already done this job. This is just me sort of like letting you in on what I've done, and I built two different types of filters basically in this video. So I built one which was a round type, which I wasn't happy with, so we made one to fit the shape, which was going to be a little bit more surface area, and you'll see as you go along in the video. It's a bit of a long video, but you can see you can always skip forwards, and if you know what you're doing and you want to see the end result, do that by all means. And it's going to be one of those sort of builds which is going to be ideal for an office or for your bedside table. It's going to be really quiet. It's a little airlift filter, so it's really quiet. It's just, you won't hardly hear it bubbling at all. And yeah, for your kids' bedside table, so they can watch it and fall asleep, that kind of stuff. Because I remember I had one when I was a kid, and I used to watch it. It used to put me to sleep all the time, watching those little guppies whizzing about backwards and forwards. And yeah, I used to enjoy all that. But I do it for my daughter now. She's got a little puffers up in her room and she loves watching them, and I put her to sleep as well. But with this, it's going to be all 100%. We're going to try and keep this as cheap as we can. Alright, the little glass bowl was about £2.99 to £3, I think. Very, very cheap. When you do buy these little glass bowls from these bargain stores, I think they put pot puree in them, or they put other things for bathrooms, various things like that. But they're only small, in about 4 litres. But try and look through them first, because they have got air bubbles on them. I just got dripped from my head then. And they do get air bubbles in them. And so look in the glass, make sure you look through it. You can put it up against the light like that, look around, see if there's any air bubbles in there, which might obviously you're going to see that. It's going to draw your eye to it, and it's not going to be perfect. I found one of these. It was only say £3, very, very cheap to buy. I had a bit of old perspex in the shed, which I've used to make the separation cavity at the back for the sponge filter. But any bit of plastic, hard plastic, as long as it's sort of a food grade plastic, you can use to make this, and you can silicone it in place. You'll see how I've done it. And just follow the video along and enjoy it. Try and make one for yourself. It's an ideal project to make with your kids. It really is, because it's so simple and it's really effective. You can get stones from your garden if it's safe and they've not been sprayed with anything silly like the chemicals or weed killer and all that sort of stuff. Or just go down the shop and try and buy some, and just buy some little tiny bits, because you're not going to need much in here. You're being attacked by moths now. It's all going wrong tonight. Look. Right, I'm being chased by mozzies. My koi aren't doing their job. They're not eating those mozzie larvae. Anyway, I'm going to stop rabbiting on now. Watch the video. Hope you enjoy it. You'll see it at the end. It's going to be a start to finish video. We're going to put some little endlers in there at the end, a couple of shrimp, and we'll show you it up and running. So stay tuned. You're all stars, and I will see you in a minute. Okay?
Just me and my guitar.
I thought we'd make a little filter for it and set it up and make a little miniature shrimp tank. Got various bits and bobs here, bits of foam which we're going to make the filter from. I think what we'll start with is I've cut a piece of bamboo off of here, that long. So if you look in there, that's going to be sat in the back there. That's going to be the lift tube. And I got this old piece of it's an old sliding door from an old fish trap that I had, with the rest of it got smashed, so I just had this piece of acrylic left. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue gun that I'm going to hot glue that. I had a few holes in, but I've just glued those up for now. Alright, then I'm going to put that in there and I'm going to hot glue gun that to the side, and that will make a pocket at the back where the filter, we'll put the filter in, and we'll put all the media this side then, and the plants, and we'll keep like a little filter reservoir at the back. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to try and get a bit more of a curve on this each side so it fits inside a little bit easier. Alright, okay, now we've got to drill through the other side now. Right, now we've got to clean these little holes up. Pardon me. Put our little stepping bit in there, and we just want to go the first hole in each one, and that'll just clean up the edges and the end bit falls out. They are. We're back together. It's always better to do a pilot hole first. And then we get a series of holes like that, which is what we need. So obviously now the water now is going to get drawn up through that filter. But we've got to put another hole up here. Okay, so the air is going to go in there and come out, and that will draw the water then through the sponge. I'm just going to clean this up a minute and I'll get back to you. Right, there you go, we're all cleaned up. We've got our little series of holes around there now. Now what we've got to do is we've got to make the filter. I've got some old koi sponge there, and I've worked out a way to cut the plugs. I'm not sure if you're I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's a glass cutter. That'll cut a nice little neat hole straight through that glass if I was to put it to it and add some water to it and cool it down as I was cutting through. This is what I used to use to put sumps in, drilling the tanks to fit sumps and all that stuff. If you want me to do a video on how to cut glass and show you how to do it, drop me a message in the comments below and I'll make a video on how to cut holes through glass for you, okay? But it cuts through foam really well too. Now what we got to do, I've done a couple there as you can see earlier on, little tests, but I'll show you how well it cuts through, okay? You just hold it, don't press, just let the weight, literally let the weight of the drill cut through, and you'll get a nice little neat plug then inside, okay? And there we go. You do it nice and slow, you can pull that out, and you've got a perfect little plug for a filter. And you can stack them up then, and you can make a nice little filter. I think we're going to get two on there. And there you go. Little eyes. Right, now we've got those. We've got to make a central hole now, like I've done in that one. Now I didn't have anything to do that, so I had an old, this is a really old ancient chisel, which used to, which was I think it was the wife's dad's, to be honest, and it was like a punch. So I've sanded it up and I've made it really sharp on the edge there, on the sander. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put that central on there, and I'll just grab a little hard surface, old plastic box I got there, put that on the top, centralise that. Now push it down all the way till it completely compresses, and then just give a couple of twists and you end up with that. And then you can pull that little plug out of there, and we've got a nice little neat hole which will sit nicely now around the bamboo. So, oh, sorry, I was right out of frame there. If you push that through there, now you've got a nice tight fit on there. You can draw that down now over those holes right to the base. Then you've still got the series of holes there for the next one to go on the top and sandwich down there. You don't need to stick them together, because if they're once they're down, you just give them a little bit of a squeeze, and there you go. You've got a little mini lift filter there. But now what we've got to do is we've got to put a hole in here so the air is coming in, and then the air comes up, and as it comes up, it's going to pull that water up, which is going to then pull that water through the sponges and give us our filtration. So now what we've got to do is drill a small hole. Now what I have got, this is all going to be hidden at the back here. I'm only using stuff that I've got kicking around in the shed to do this. So we'll put the drill bit in. I've got some of these little blue extenders there. That drill bit is a little bit small, so we'll just get the right diameter there. That one looks a bit better. And now we've got to drill a hole there, so I'll mark it with my finger where I want to go, just on the base. Be careful when you're doing this, guys, you don't drill your fingers. And now we've got that little hole there, which we can then, what I've got to do, I'm going to show you that, because I don't want that to go right, I don't want that to go right through. I just literally want that to be a couple of mil right about there, so it's not blocking the inside of the pipe. I just really want it to go through the wall of the wood, so you can measure it that way and see how thick you want it. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just go on the I'll go on my sander quickly, and I'll just take that down to where I think I need it. If you haven't got a sander like me, you could just use sandpaper with these things, and you can rub it that way. You can just hold it on the paper, and keep going down like that. But for this purpose and speed, and not getting you bored, I'll do it on my sander quickly. Just enlarge that slightly. Just put if you ever want to drill a hole and you want to get it a little bit wider, just a fraction, you can just go in there and just circle it around very slowly, and that'll just take a fraction of it off. I'm just going to compress those down a minute. Still needs a little bit more yet. There you go. Now that's in there lovely and tight. Alright guys, that's that fitted. I actually looked in my coat. I was just looking for some tape over there for something else, and I found a 90-degree one. It was actually a triple one. Actually, it had another piece coming off of there. But what I've done is I've sanded that off there, and I've just put a blob of hot glue there. So now we've got that 90 degrees, that 90-degree bend there. So our airline now is going to come straight down, which is going to be so much better than otherwise. The airline would have come in at an awkward angle, and it wouldn't have looked as good. So that now can go in the back of there. And that's that done. Now what we've got to do is get some media and put that in there, get some little stones, bit of rock work, and start making this look like something. Okay guys, we are back. Coffee time. If you like these little videos I'm doing, whack that button and get updated and hit that little notification bell for up and coming videos. I've got now, I had a quick think while I was doing stuff before, and where we came up with that little filter there, I've put the airline on, found a 90-degree bend there, blocked it off. It was a triple actually, so I've glued that piece on there, sanded that piece off there, and then put a blob of hot glue on there just to seal that off. So that's now running at a better angle, as you can see. But I thought, well, it's not going to be great in there like that, and I wasn't too happy with it. So what I've done, I'm going to take those off of there and we can use them on another project. What I've done with the back is I siliconed that in the back there, and I went right round the edges with silicone. You're not going to see any of that. I know it looks a little bit untidy, but you're not going to see any of that once all the media is in, and it's all going to be hidden. But what I've done is I've made that instead. So I've carved that to fit, and that now fits nice and snug in the back of there now. So we've got a proper shape to the filter. So when we put that back in there, we've got more surface area on that as well. I just didn't like the look of it being just the two little round things, even though you probably won't see them, but you had a lot of area each side. You know, when those were in there, you had a lot of area that way and that way, which could have been filled with the foam. So I thought I might as well cut some more foam and shape it to fit. So now I put a sucker on the back there now as well, just to make sure it stays in place once it's in there. So we push that in there, suck that in place. And then we're in. So now if we come down, you can see it through the front. You can see it fits a lot better in there, and in the top as well. We've got more surface area there now for that filter to be working, which is good. So I think what we're going to do now is I'll drop you down slightly so we can get a better side angle on this, and I can turn it around. I've got it plumbed into a little air pump at the moment. It's going to be pretty imperative that you have one of these little regulation valves, because obviously any pump with a filter this small, with a tube that small, you only want the slightest bit of air going through it to get it to roll that water up and out and over. Otherwise you're just going to blow it and it will just blow the air and the water straight out the top of the little aquarium. So we don't want that. I'll probably get another sucker as well to go on the back of the tank, so that's something else we can do. But we've got some nice plants here, we've got some media here. This is all out of another tank which I've had, so it's all cycled media and everything else, the rocks. So we should have a pretty good head start with this tank. And then when you want to take that out, literally your plants will be there, you just slide that out, squeeze it out in your water like you would do a normal filter, slide it back in, sucker in place again, and you're away. So I think what we'll do now is we'll try and get that a bit closer, try and get it on a better angle for you. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go and get my small tripod and we'll put it on that, 'cause you'll be lower and you'll be more angled to the tank then to see what we're doing and when we plant him up. Right guys, that's better. We're all set up now. You can see the silicone at the back around here where we put that piece of acrylic across there, and we just stuck it to the sides and all the way around the bottom now. So now the water will flow into there, no media can foul up the filter behind, and the water's going to get drawn up and expelled from the top, and that'll circulate around in the aquarium and keep everything nice and fresh. Now what we're going to do is put in some of the media. trying to get it in the front and not in the back. Like I say, this is all cycled media, this is, so and it's great fun working with something like this, which is very, very small. I'm just going to slowly build up and work out what I want to do as I go. Got a couple of biggish rocks. Not sure about that one. But this is what it's all about. This is where the fun's, this is where it's all about the fun, because you can, that one's not bad, that sits quite nicely there. Quite like that one. I think what I'll do is I've got some other small bits, I'll sort them out and we'll put some smaller bits around then and build up some of the media around it. Put that one in there, I think. It sort of fits nicely there. Which creates a nice little edge around here, a nice little wall I think now. And I think we'll put, you can always put some of these stones on the top as well. What I want to do is I want to put a pocket, leave a pocket at the back there. I'll try and fit one. Like I say, it's all trial and error, finding the right stones to go in certain places. Now that stone there, look, that's a perfect edge on it to fit down into that little crack there. We'll fill that little gap up there nicely. That will stop any of that media then I'm going to put down in this area from falling out along the bottom. And we're going to put some more plants in the back there, and that will hide all the filter at the back, so you're not going to see any of that then. So when you want to get in and pull the filter out later on and clean it, you can just get your hand in behind. So I think that's all the rock work I'm going to put in there. I'll try and get you guys more of a better angle. But it is quite, I've got the strip light above me and it's reflecting off the glass, which is a bit unfortunate, but I'm sure you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, like I said, none of this is rehearsed, this is just all going on as we speak. I'm just putting this together with you, and like I say, I got up this morning, pouring with rain again, typical Wales, and so I thought we'd come in the shed and I can do this and get it all ready for you guys to watch on Sunday. We're Saturday today, so when you see this it'll be Sunday. Right, I've got a spoon now and I'm just going to go in and put some more media in. I love working on these little small projects, and we'll fill that little gap up behind as well. If you want to know, this is JBL media substrate, so it's good for your plants. And it'll have them growing well. And so when you're creating anything in an aquarium, guys, if you're new to the hobby and you're not used to setting up tanks, a really good idea is if you bank it up on an angle, on a steep angle, going up to the back of the tank. So you want it shallow at the front and high at the back, and that'll give it that illusion of depth going into the aquarium, and you put your higher plants obviously at the back and all your lower carpeting plants at the front, and it'll give you a little bit better perspective then when you look in the tank. You don't want the big plants at the front and little ones at the back, because they're obviously, you know, they're just going to grow straight up and take over everything, and you won't see it and you'll be forever chopping things out. But so if you're new to the hobby and you're watching these, that's a good way to start. If you looked at my aquascape, it's very, very steep in there, which gives that illusion of that path going through the middle. Plants wise, I'm going to put some dwarf baby's tears in here. I got some dwarf swordtails, and I got a little moss ball. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet, whether I'm going to put it in. A little bit of dwarf hairgrass. Here I've got a nice chunk. Let me move that media out of the way. Got a beautiful chunk of dwarf baby's tears there. I've also got some hair grass, which I'm going to have to pick apart, and we can put that there. I'll break this up into little bits as well. There's a nice little piece there that can come off, so we can sort all those bits out. I'll stop this a minute. I'll sort out my plants. I'll get them all rigged up on where I want them, on a tray, and then we'll plant them in. I stuck it at a different angle there now, guys, so you can see from a different view. And get the old pincers out. A few bits of media have gone in the back there, but not to worry, we'll soon grab those out with our little chopsticks here. A couple of bits they won't mind in there. Won't matter at all. Right, so what I'm going to do, I've got some really nice little, you can see them there, guys, some dwarf swordtails with nice little root systems on them. So you want to grab those and then push those roots nice and deep into the soil. Be careful not to damage them too much. That's the nice thing about having planted tanks, as you guys know who've got them, that you've always got a nice supply of fresh little cuttings that are coming off all the time. And I mean, I've got quite a few of these, and they just put little runners out. I'm sorry if my hands are getting in the way all the time, but I'm trying to give you a good view. But we've got a couple of dwarf swordtails now in the back, and I think around that I'm going to put a bit of this dwarf baby's tears as well. That'll grow in amongst it. Put a nice piece there, which I think we'll have in that corner there. I'll give you a better angle in a minute, guys. We've got some of this dwarf hair grass as well, which puts out nice little runners. So we can nestle a little bit of that in there as well. That will soon start sending runners out through the substrate. So you don't really want too much in here. It's nice to let these things grow in. And it's handy actually, because we can start filling this from the back and then we can let it run over the top and back in, and it will stop all that stirring up. If the roots are a little bit long, guys, you could always trim them back. There's no harm in trimming these plants back. Well, I think what we'll do, we've got a little bit of hair grass here. I think we'll push just in there. If you've only got little tiny bits of hair grass, guys, and you don't worry about it if you bury it, because it will soon find its way through and start growing again. So don't worry about that too much. And then the roots will hold everything together then. But don't forget, there's always a fast forward button if you get bored. You can shoot back or shoot forwards, it's up to you. Because I know I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm doing here, and also talk to you guys at the same time. And us blokes aren't good at multitasking. So there you go, there's some in there, some in there. What else have I got? I got a bit of baby's tears here, which I think I'll put in that little corner there. Piece of wood in there, don't know where that came from. I think that'll do it. I think that'll do it. So we'll clean up this area. And I'll change your angle again. And there you go. Right, we've got a bit of media left, and I've also got this this moss ball as well, which I'm just going to pop in the back there, I think, just for the time being. Like I say, they're full of little bits of micro life, and they do the tanks good. So I'm just going to put one in there just for the time being. If I don't like the look of it, I can always just take it out. That's no worries at all. What else have I got? The last little bit in there, I've got there you go, a little tiny bit of subwazatang there, which you can push in amongst the rocks and stick a little bit of media on it, and that'll get hold of those rocks and start growing away. Right, I'll just clean this glass a little bit, and then we'll go back down and I'll show you what it looks like from the front. Alright guys, there's a little top view for you. We've got that little pocket in the back there now. We've got the filter system in the back, which we can put a couple of little stones on if we like, just on the top of the sponge there, just to hide things away. But when you come around to the front here, you can't really see it anyway. I've got a couple of little stones here. I'll just pop them on. That doesn't look too bad, but it's hidden that sponge away. When you come right level with it, you're not going to see it much at all. Anyway, I'll leave that there for now. Not sure if it'll stay there. I might get some smaller ones and build them up. But we'll get some water now and we'll fill it up nice and slowly, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright guys, you can see there now that the it's starting to fill up. Obviously we're going to get a bit of detritus and a bit of muck in the water and a bit of film on the surface, but that's not to worry, we can always get that out. As we're filling up, you might get a few things float, you might have to push a couple of bits back in place again with your tweezers later on, but we're slowly filling up. Like I say, I've got the 5 litres of water above there, and I'm just letting it go in at its own pace through that piece of airline, and then we'll plug him in and see how it works. There, it's filling up quite quick. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in here. I might put some tiny little rasbora in there actually, or some shrimp. I'm not sure yet. I think it was about $1.99 for that bowl. I think some people put that pot puree in there or whatever they call it, or various other things. But they make absolutely amazing little balls, little ball aquariums, as you can tell, and with a little bit of thought and a bit of time. Like you say, it's very simple to make, and that little filter will kick into gear and start bubbling, and we'll have a lovely thriving little system there in a couple of months time. Alright guys, there you go guys, it's all done. Looking pretty cool, filter's running well, bubbling up there, drawing that water up the pipe. We've got a nice little filter system going there now. It's all cleared. I left it for about an hour, and now we'll get this little light. I've got my little light there, and I can place that on the top, and there you go. So if you want to go and make yourself one of these little bowls, go up your local cheapie shop, and you can always find these little bowls up there. You can glue in, follow the video, make your little sponge filters, put them in, and you'll be away, and you've got a nice little really cheap aquarium that looks pretty good, I think. And you can get some shrimp in there, or some very small little rasboras, maybe a couple of tetras or something. Next day, and everything's cleared up nice, filter's working brilliantly, water columns just nicely moving around to keep everything nice and fresh. I've got a very cycled filter in the back. It's 100% cycled. It was from another tank upstairs, in case you're worried about the fish. The media was cycled, the rocks were cycled, and obviously the plants and everything else. Now it's just like moving one tank to another basically. So everything's is going to be safe in there. I've got a pothos plant in the back, which is also going to help take any nitrates out of the water. But I think it looks pretty good. You've got a nice little perception of depth there going in. Keep your stones, you know, midway, like I've done it there with your little separating piece at the back with your filter in. Airlift system's working really well, really happy with that. And when you think about it, it's only about 3 litres, 3.5 litres, something like that. I'm not sure exactly, I never actually filled it up to see, but it's tiny, and it really looks a lot bigger than it is when you see. Yeah, what I will say guys, with this tank, this is completely cycled. The filter's completely cycled, the media was cycled, it all came from another tank. If you do replicate this and you haven't got cycled media and you're starting off from fresh, don't forget you've got to cycle the system first before you can put anything in, okay? Otherwise you're going to get an ammonia spike and you're going to lose all your inhabitants otherwise, and that's not going to be very nice for them. I'm going to be giving this one a water change every day now, probably a little 5-10% water change every day. Very simple to do. It's literally it's a cup full in and a cup full out, or the other way around, and just to keep it all nice and fresh. You can see down the bottom there I've got a little rocket panachax down the bottom. There's 3 of them in there. 2 of them are hiding at the back, but they're stunning little fish. That's from one of my other systems, but I think these look quite good, I think. And like I say, this is just my little interpretation of it. You can do it whatever you like. You can put your filter in the back, but the rock work, all the aquascape is entirely up to you. If you want to put driftwood in there, or you know, different types of stuff, different types of plants, it's endless really what you can create. You can just do moss balls, you can do the Mario balls there, I think they're called, and do some of those. But all the little endlers look very happy. If we go down, we can see and I'll go up, you can see that little filter there bubbling away just as a big sponge filter would. And it's all working great. And you wouldn't think that that's only about 3.5–4 litres. Looking at it like that, you'd think it was a lot bigger. But you've got everything in there that you'd have in a bigger tank, and I think they look fabulous. You can get in there with a little pair of scissors later on and start trimming things, or if you see some other little types of carps in plants, and it won't be long before those baby's tears creep along the substrate and fill it all in, and that'll give somewhere for the little fish to feed on. And we'll add some we'll put some little freshwater copepods in there as well. I always like adding little bugs in the tanks, because they'll go in amongst the moss balls and that'll give the fish something to hunt and look for. And also those little rocket panachaks as well, because they like and they're mostly surface fish, but they do go down the bottom and have a little mooch around if they see something. But don't forget guys, if you're not cycled media, make sure you don't do what I've done here, and you've got to cycle it first, okay? If you like this video, hope you're going to give it a go. Like I say, it's an awesome one to make with your kids, or just for yourself, for your office desk, or all you want is a tiny little air pump to run it. And if you wanted to run a heater on it, I mean, this shrimp room is running at about 22 degrees anyway, and little endlers and the shrimp are going to be totally fine at that temperature, and that's a constant temperature it's running in here, so everything will be fine for them. But if you do want to get a heater, you can also put one in. I think they do them for biorbs. I think they're only about maybe 6 watts to 10 watts. They're tiny little things. They're like little discs, and you can just stick them in the back, hide them in there with that filter, and then you can put all the tropical stuff in there as well. If you haven't got a heated room, you can soon put a little heater in there. I think what I'll do is I'll put some fertilizer in here in maybe a couple of weeks time, little drops. I'll measure out how much I need, because obviously we can't run anything CO2 wise in there. I suppose we could make a micro CO2 unit up, but that's another video. It's another one. But I think I'll just put in some liquid fertilizer now and again, just to keep it all going. Yesterday when we had it going, all the baby's tears here was purling away lovely and releasing lots of little bubbles coming out, which was nice to see. All the shrimp are happy, they've had a little feed. I put a little bit of flake in there for the endlers. They're happy buzzing about. Yeah, give it a go guys, I think you'll enjoy this one. Straightforward, really easy, super cheap. And I think you'll enjoy looking at that. Anyway guys, if you like these little videos, please like, share and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. It just encourages me to do more stuff. Like I say, the subs are creeping up all the time, which is fantastic news. And as I always say, you're all stars, look after yourselves, be safe, and I'll see you on the next episode of Marks Aquatics. Okay, bye for now.
Just me and my